sell that or what? They sat out there for quite a few months. That tells you they don't have any space. When they put an engine outside with months and months and months.
Excuse me one second.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am. How do you upload a PowerPoint image? I'd like to learn that. Where do you plug that in? You plug that
The
in right
USB port's
Goes
down
in
there.
Okay. And then you click what?
I do PC.
Okay. And then that comes up. On which drive?
This one says drive E, but I put 2 drives in there. Okay, so it's not this one.
Might be drive E then. Which was it? D or
Maybe it's that one. You get a D.
D? Okay. And then you just click on it and open it. Or do you drag it?
I don't drag it. I just click on it.
Okay.
I saw you coming in. I didn't get
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. I learn something new every day.
Oh, no, 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 yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sun comes up.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then she said, "We've seen that, but they've got a couple of things. Some of the stuff is wrong. So the actuals are fine. But the figures are so weak. And we went back and forth
Okay.
with the team. So we didn't put it right.
Okay, this is the 30-second warning, please. Just waiting for the paper shuffling to my right to, okay, we're good. Welcome to the Village Board meeting of December 15th, 2025. We will be led this evening in the Pledge of Allegiance by our village clerk, Manal Desai. Please rise as you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting to order and ask that Village Clerk Manal Desai please call the roll.
Trustee Pierce-Lovin. Here. Trustee Schechter. Here. Trustee Kimani Levy.
Here.
Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Iverson.
Here.
Trustee Lissa Levy.
Here.
Mayor Tennis.
Here, and we have a quorum. I would like to note, first of all, that there is a change in tonight's agenda. Under new business, item 14B has been withdrawn from tonight's agenda by the petitioner, and it will come back at a future meeting. So the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion, or I'm sorry, is there anything anyone would like removed from the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve? Trustee Lissa Levy, second by Trustee Kamani Levy. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Pierce-Lovin.
Here, aye, excuse me.
Trustee Schechter.
Aye.
Trustee Kimani Levy.
Aye.
Trustee Robinson.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Lissa Levy.
Aye. And the motion passes. Just to take a moment, as part of that consent agenda, we approved, with sadness, the resignation of longtime Appearance Commission member and longtime chair, Mike Link. Mr. Link has served the village with excellence. He has led the Appearance Commission for well over a decade. I think he's been on the commission for 20 or 25 years. And I wanted to just publicly state that we are all grateful for his service. The next item on the agenda is public comment. This public comment and the one at the end of the meeting is for addressing the board in regard to items that are not part of this evening's agenda. Each person is allotted 3 minutes. Please note that this is an opportunity for those in the audience to address the village board, and we will listen and not respond. Please note that speakers who comment during this first public comment session may not speak again during the later comment period. So I see we have an individual already. If you'd like to go ahead.
Good evening. My name is David Dalka, 9330 Laurel. I wish everyone who deserves a Merry Christmas, a Merry Christmas. First, I want to talk about item 5 on the agenda, which wasn't even spoken about. Skokie needs more transparency, not less. Putting a voucher list number on the agenda instead of the line items and allowing public comment on items over $100,000 is not the right direction for this village. Further, last week, Monday, I spoke at the Foreign Fire Fund meeting, and I spoke with Chief Eichner about the need for a fourth ambulance and a vote for a fourth ambulance by the trustees. He said that he would communicate that to the village manager, and he said that that would happen. I came to the police and fire board this evening, and I told them that they did do that. And he nodded his head, yes, he had done that. But yet, the item to vote for a fourth ambulance is not on tonight's agenda. Neither is the Elk Grove Village e-bike ordinance that would reduce the number of 911 calls for unneeded safety issues throughout the village and other things. I also appeared at the Human Rights Commission, where I had a very pleasant conversation and snack with trustee Schechter and trustee Slovin, and they both agreed to meet with me sometime after their holidays, and I look forward to that. I look forward to creating positive dialogue with you that creates positive change in the village. The question I have is, you know, I've also asked for the past several meetings for help with Cook County on getting us a property tax refund that's due and 3 different chunks of money of the road to help put the Church Street issues, the county issues to bed. I've not heard back from the village staff in any form or trustees about this issue. I'd like to get that closed in early January so we can have that there. So my ultimate question to you, since you won't vote out for the ambulance, is this. Why?
And your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor, board members. Good to see you again. This is a public campaign message from the mayor about listening to residents and taking action.
Hello, Skokie neighbors. If we haven't met yet, I'm Ann Tennis, and I'm running for mayor. I first came to work for our village in the 1990s, and I grew to love our diverse community so much that I moved my family here. We have so much to be proud of in Skokie. Great schools, an amazing park district, and a state-of-the-art library. But in recent years, village leadership has let us down. Poor financial decisions, failing to address growing problems, and simply not listening to residents. As the only mayoral candidate with decades of local government experience, working on a wide variety of important initiatives right here in Skokie, I'm ready to help guide Skokie's next chapter with leadership that listens to residents and takes action to solve problems so that every resident feels welcome and thrives in our community. Please vote for me on April 1st or vote early, starting March 17th. Together, I know we can build on what makes our village great.
So I'm here because residents have raised serious safety and access issues, and despite repeated requests, no meaningful action has been taken. Free Skokie. Free Skokie from leadership that does not protect residents or listens to residents when they ask for help. Free Skokie from leadership that ignores IDOT requirements, approves unsafe construction, and allows NFPA life safety violations to stand. Free Skokie from leadership that knowingly ignores child safety and allows toxic exposure to continue. Free Skokie from leadership that blocks access into homes, tolerates mail delivery, access obstruction, and retaliates when residents complain. Free Skokie from leadership that conceals subpoenaed records, makes decisions without transparency or public oversight, prioritizes developers over residents, and disregards Open Meetings Act. Free Skokie from one-man control so trustees can govern freely and residents can feel safe again. Free Skokie means restoring accountability, restoring democracy, and restoring safety because residents deserve leadership that listens, protects, and serves the people of Skokie. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Simona. I'm a volunteer with the Chicago Jewish Alliance, and I'm a mother of 3. And I'm here tonight to speak about the beautiful art installation that we placed in Shawnee Park last week. It was created in honor of the Jewish children who experienced a frightening incident there. simply for being Jewish. What happened in the park was deeply troubling. It left children feeling shaken in a place that should always feel safe and welcoming. Our community's response was one of love and healing. The installation contained handmade hearts and stars, contributed by kind people from all across the country. This knitting project was done in collaboration with Tanya Singer from Beautifully Jewish. Similar heartfelt projects have been seen all over the country in response to anti-Semitic incidents, most notably at the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh, where handmade items like crocheted hearts and quilted pieces were crafted and displayed to bring comfort and solidarity. Letters and artwork arrived from nearly every state. Volunteers flew in from New York, Arizona, Florida to help install this installation. These were caring strangers who had never met the children who were involved in the incident, yet they felt compelled to show up for the community, stand together in support. The project is a simple, gentle, and full of love installation, a way to wrap the park in warmth and reassurance. As we planned it, there were some understandable concerns about how it might be received. The symbols of love and Jewish pride might face challenges in public spaces. Let me reflect on that for a moment. When something as innocent as a knitted heart requires questions, it reminds us of how much work we still have to do to foster understanding. When Jewish symbols in a park feel uncertain, it highlights the need for greater acceptance. And when an act of kindness requires careful consideration, it points to areas where our shared community climate could be even more inclusive. Public parks are meant to be spaces where children can learn that kindness is always welcome, that embracing one's identity is something to celebrate, and that responding to hurt with beauty and care is a powerful choice. This installation was never intended to be political or confrontational. It's temporary, and above all, it's an act of compassion for the children who were hurt, and a gentle reminder to all the families we choose to support, protect, and unify. I encourage everybody in this room to take a moment to visit Shawnee Park and see this installation yourself, and I would like to thank Mayor Tennis for stopping by as we were installing. It will be up for the duration of Hanukkah, bring light and warmth during this special season. We are deeply grateful to the village and the Park District for partnering with us on this, and we hope it encourages more moments where acts of love are embraced with open hearts. The children needed to see this outpouring of care, and truly, we all did. Thank you for your time and attention tonight.
Thank you.
I've got my old school printout. Hi, good evening. I'm Tina Vanderwalker, the Executive Director of the Early Childhood Alliance of Niles Township. I wanted to share a little bit about the ECA in hopes that we can at a later point come back and with a more in-depth presentation for the Board of Trustees. The ECA is an early childhood collaboration focused on prenatal parents and families with children birth to 5. We currently have 49 partner organizations composed of 10 school districts, early childhood programs, social service organizations, and village libraries and governments, including the village of Skokie. The ECA is small, with only 3 full-time staff, 1 part-time employee, and 7 subcontractors. We are committed to creating access for all families to early childhood resources and programs, with a focus on language access. We're connectors and have hired members of identified communities as family liaisons who speak the home language of the community and build bridges to connect families with programs and services that are critical for children and families' well-being. We have 6 family liaisons who speak 7 different languages prevalent in the area. Our programs include a monthly parent support group, open playtimes, in our early childhood classroom, car seat access and training, an ESL class with childcare for birth to 5, and lots of individualized support. So you may be wondering, why does early childhood matter to me? I don't have children, or my kids are grown. Well, numerous research studies have shown that investing in early childhood pays dividends. In fact, every $1 invested in early childhood yields a $13 return on investment. Children with high-quality early learning experiences have better school readiness, higher academic achievement, improved adult health, stronger social skills, and reduced crime and health risks later in life. Current data shows that in Niles Township, 74% of children who qualify for free and reduced lunch are not ready for kindergarten. This is unacceptable and should be a call to action for us all. In 2024, a U.S. Surgeon General's warning was published about the unique stressors experienced by today's parents. In this report, Dr. Vivek Murthy clearly states we must do more to support parents and caregivers. The work of parenting is essential, not only for the health of children, but also for the health of society. Unfortunately, the ECA is currently experiencing an unexpected critical financial crisis and will need to put on hold many of the impactful programs that we have been coordinating. We're reaching out to the board and also to residents in the season of giving so that we may support more families who often have less access to resources. In addition, our first annual fundraiser, which is here, will be on Friday, January 23rd at Sketchbook in Skokie, and we'd love to have you.
I'm so sorry, but your time is up. So the next speaker, by my count, is our 5th speaker. We allow for up to 10 speakers at this first juncture. So you, ma'am, will be number 6. Mr. Luke will be number 7. Ms. Grodnicki will be number 8. Sir, you'll be number 9. Sir with the cap, you'll be number 10. So I regret that if you would like to speak, you'll need to wait until the later time. I just wanted to be clear. Our rules are, our procedures are that we allow up to 10 speakers for 3 minutes each during each of the different times. So thank you. Go ahead.
Buenas noches. Good evening. My name is Astrid Suarez, a resident of Skokie, and also the director of Collective Impact for the Early Childhood Alliance. So I am here to really ask for your generosity to support us during this very critical time. As Tina mentioned, we are serving families from Skokie and Niles Township community, but we are serving over 90% of the families that we are serving are from Skokie community. Most of the families that we are serving speak different language, and they are in the process to learning English, but still relating our interpretation services to provide critical support to connect it to many services that we have as available here in the community, but without language that they won't be able to access. So as, for example, early childhood child care, home visiting programs, early intervention, Skokie Park District programs, the pantry, the food pantry. So we really help the families to navigate the entire system that is available in the community for early childhood access. In addition to that, we are one-stop shop. We are a place where the families from all venues and all the diversity that we have in Skokie really can receive all the support, in addition to really develop a sense of belonging, a sense of dignity and respect. We serve all the families, including it's all the families that we live here. We have support over 320 children access to any of those services for the last 2 years. So the impact that we are providing to the community is huge, and we are and the impact in improving the quality of life of the families here in Skokie is enormous. I want to provide an example. So last Saturday, we have our famous winter movie night, which is free for all the kids and the families in the community. We didn't expect to have a lot of families, by the way, because that was super cold, but we have over 200 people. What it means is that the community really needs that space where all the people from different cultures, race, languages were able to come together and to celebrate diversity, but also to have the opportunity to have quality time with the kids. When we ask the families all over, from different ethnics, backgrounds, incomes, how they feel about it, they were like, this is phenomenal. Please do it again. We have fun. Our kids were so happy, so we are happy. So we offer free pizza, free activities, and a place of community. So when the families express that to us, it means and it speaks that we are hungry to be together, to support each other, always, but most in these very difficult times for our country and for our community. So we need each other.
I'm so sorry, but your time is up. Your time is up. Everybody gets exactly 3 minutes. You're welcome to submit whatever you have in writing. Okay.
Hi, how are you? My name is Nancy Sierra. I am the Family Engagement Coordinator at ECA, Early Childhood Alliance. I am also a resident of Skokie, where I have lived for more than 5 years. I have 2 children. One is 4 years old, that she is in Octon Child Care Center, and a 15-year-old that is in Nash West. In addition, I am a preschool teacher, so I know firsthand how important the work we are doing in Early Childhood Alliance is supporting families through the long and often challenging process of accessing financial support for childcare in our community, where all of the childcare are for profit. For a family to receive childcare financial assistance, I'm going to give you like an overview. Both parents need to demonstrate that they are working at least 25 hours. Imagine this for a family that had babies or that have kids with special needs or other things. Families may receive support from Action for Children from CCAP, but often this is not enough unless they also qualify for other programs like Prevention Initiative or Preschool for All. In addition,
Are you addressing the board? Okay, I'm sorry, I just see you looking out there. I thought you were addressing the board.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. In addition, the families need to qualify for Niles Township government scholarship to be able to pay for the childcare. This is where our work is crucial in Early Childhood Alliance, by connecting families to services, advocating on their behalf. We are not always helping individuals, families, but also strengthening our community. Through education, we are reducing the risk of school failure and dropout, giving children the opportunity to thrive and succeed. For this reason and more, we are appealing for your generosity and time by donating and or supporting our annual fundraising event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor and members of the board. I imagine most of you know me, but tonight I stand here wearing another hat. I am the co-founder and co-producer of St. Timothy's Coffee House Folk Music Concert Series. We're a non-for-profit organization. We have no paid staff, and all the monies that we earn go to the performer and local charities and a paid sound tech. We are also recipients of granting from the Skokie Fine Arts Commission. The grant money has helped keep the admission prices low. We produce 6 concerts a year, 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall. We just completed our 9th year presenting folk music to the Skokie residents and to the North Shore, and have grown in popularity over the years. So much that 3 years ago, WFMT, hence the t-shirt, asked us to partner with them so they could broadcast our concerts live as part of their Saturday night folk stage program. With this partnership, the attendance grew to almost sold-out concerts. This last weekend on Saturday, we had a special 7th concert featuring Bonnie Kolak. Unfortunately, it is our last concert in Skokie. Our hosting church, St. Timothy Lutheran Church, has closed permanently due to a shrinking membership. So, word had spread throughout the church community in October that we were closing. And to my surprise, 6 churches reached out to me wanting to host the concert series. It was difficult to pick a church, as all of them had offered very good qualities for staging our concerts. Finally, we decided on the Lutheran Church of the Ascension in Northfield. I now want to take this opportunity to thank Skokie and the Skokie Fine Arts Commission for their support over the years to keep our series going to a point where people have started to notice and take more interest in folk music. I'd like to thank especially Nick and Meredith for their help with filing the grant application with the Fine Arts Commission. On a closing note, since this is the Niles Food Pantry Month, St. Timothy's Lutheran Church has set up a legacy fund to which Niles Township Respite Program, which includes the Niles Food Pantry, as a recipient of some of our funds. Again, thank you, and please check out our upcoming concert in the spring, either live on WFMT or come in person in concert indoor field for the spring, for the spring year, which will be our 10th year. Thank you.
I'm going to break from my regular topic to just talk about how we live in a place where Public Works maintains the roads, they plow, and they maintain the pipes. Not everyone thinks so, but there's a hierarchy for plowing. It's kind of like a combination of case and if statements in a computer program. There's a formula that's applied to fixing roads that takes lots of factors into account. Not everyone's always happy with the outcome, but it's equitable and need-driven. We had a major water main break, at least partially because it was installed in a counterintuitive way that contributed to the break, but less than 24 hours later, we had water in the pipes. I don't say this to diminish the loss of the residents who suffered, but to acknowledge how hard our Public Works Department works to get the water back on. Through some assigned reading that I recently did, I learned about a contrasting situation in some of the southern and southwestern suburbs of Chicago, where residents pay 2 to 3 times as much as we do for each cubic foot of water. And if they can't pay, their water just gets shut off, and then they have to pay hundreds of dollars to get it turned back on. The pipes leak, and as much as 38% of the water that they're paying for gets lost along the way, and these are communities that cannot afford to pay for stuff they're not getting. It gets lost way before it ever gets to their house. One of the municipal buildings in one of those suburbs has a leak in the basement, and they just pump the water out into the neighboring playground onto the ground. And the residents are on the hook for that water because it's their tax dollars paying for it. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this book, but I just want to express immense gratitude to our Public Works Department that keeps things going, and so thank you. And I know not everybody was happy with the situation with the snow. I saw the board meeting last time, even though I wasn't here, and that happens, and I don't know what to do about it, but I'm sure they can figure it out. So thank you to Public Works. And
Sir, if you would just give us your first name, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Amin. I am a Skokie resident. I am here because I am concerned about the safety, accountability, and leadership in this village. And also I am here to support the cause of my friend, Mr. Shah. Thank you very much.
Sir?
Good evening. My name is Jasim. I'm a concerned Skokie resident, and I'm here to support my friend Shah again. Thank you.
That concludes our public comment period. The next item on the agenda is a presentation of our annual comprehensive financial report by Jennifer Martinson, CPA of Lauterbach and Amann.
Good evening. Someone left their phone, I think, up here.
My son is not going to be too happy.
Nick, is that the right presentation? One moment, we just have to adjust the
That's okay.
presentation.
I actually don't have a PowerPoint if that's what you're, yeah,
Okay.
just.
Okay, so I will go to our fabulous background.
Perfect.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, good evening. I am Jen Martinson, a partner with Lauterbach and Amen, here, of course, to present the audit results for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2025. I do want to start by taking this opportunity to thank Julian and the rest of the finance team for all of their hard work during the audit process. It's certainly a team effort, all of the coordination and communication, as you can imagine, throughout the entire process, and really their hard work year-round gets us to the smooth audit process that we had this year as well. So thank you so much to you and your team. As the board knows, the village is required to undergo an independent financial statement audit each fiscal cycle. And really the goal of the audit, or our responsibility as your auditors, is to provide an opinion on the financial statements presented this evening. So we've completed our audit testing procedures, we've reviewed the internal control environment for the village, and we've issued an unmodified or clean audit opinion on the financial statements. That is the highest opinion that we can issue. That is the highest level of assurance that we can provide on these financial statements. And it really just means that the financial statements are materially correct or do in fact accurately represent the financial position of the village of Skokie. So really most important piece of information for this presentation is that clean, unmodified audit opinion. Additionally, the village did receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting again. I believe 36 years in a row, the village has received this award from the GFOA, or the Government Finance Officers Association. And that award really just speaks highly to the transparency of the financial statements presented by the village. So congratulations on receiving that award again for fiscal year 2024. We do anticipate the village will receive the award for fiscal year 2025 as well once submitted and reviewed. I know it's a rather large audit document, so I do just want to point out a few areas for the board to focus your attention on. The first being what we call the transmittal letter, which is on page 3. And that's really just a non-financial introduction to the village. It will discuss upcoming major initiatives. It's in management's words. So really just a nice introduction to the village and the audit. And then most importantly, what we call the MD&A, or Management's Discussion and Analysis. And that's going to start on page 15. So this really is the executive summary to the audit report. So I know you have over 200 pages, right, of information in front of you. And this section really is a narrative summary of all of that financial information to follow. So it's really going to break down those 200 pages into about 15 pages, easy to read, easy to digest, focusing really on the highlights for the year, changes from the prior year to the current year. So really, if you read just those 15 pages, you'll have a full understanding of the entire report. So a little easier to digest there. And then finally, towards the back, starting on page 164, is the statistical section. I always like to point this out. That's really one of the key areas to obtaining that award that we discussed. And it relates to 10 years of trend information for the village in the back there on a variety of topics such as revenues, expenditures, fund balances, property taxes, things of that nature, as well as some detailed information on operating indicators, demographics for the village. So really a whole wealth of information there at the back of the report. Additionally, I'd be required to communicate this evening if we had any difficulties during the audit or disagreements with management. I'm happy to say that we did not. Additionally, we do issue a smaller report, the management letter, and this really is just our opportunity to provide any upcoming standards that are going to be impacting the audit report in the future from GASB, so the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, as well as any recommendations or best practices that we felt the board should be aware of. And really, we only had 2 new comments this year, and the one that I did want to mention is just related to IT security. So there was no recommendation or concern from our audit procedures, really just an awareness for the board that it's a hot topic in the industry right now, and to be certainly aware of IT risks. So overall, smooth audit process. We have that clean audit opinion, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. Thank you for your assistance. I'd like to thank Julian Prendy, our finance director, and his team for helping with this. Just to follow up on what Ms. Martinson just said, John and I have spoken, and there is a recommendation relative to IT that the village formally adopt an information technology security and controls policy. That's something we will be looking at in first quarter of 2026, calendar year 2026. So I wanted to mention that. And with that, any questions for the auditor? Trustee Schechter.
Thank you for your good work, and again, thank you also to Mr. Prendy and staff. I just have some questions that, and I don't know whether you're the appropriate person to ask, but just that I'd highlighted in terms of the financial highlights that, looking at page 15, that third bullet point, where it said that our combined fund balance increased about almost $3.7 million, and it says here $34.9 million is available for spending at the government's discretion. Unassigned fund balance, an increase of $620,000 from the prior year, and there are a number of examples like that of areas where, I mean, it's nice that that we're doing well. On the other hand, we don't really want to be holding on to taxpayer money any more than we have to. And so I have like two questions. One is, how much do we have that's discretionary? And two, is there a best practice for governments in terms of a ceiling on any surplus funds?
So typically what we would look at in terms of the fund balances accumulating when we're talking unassigned fund balance or maybe discretionary fund balance as it's mentioned here, you're typically talking about 3 to 6 months of expenditures as probably like a minimum cushion of what you would anticipate. And that would be more in your general fund that we would be looking to see where that could be accumulating, because that money is then unassigned, as it's mentioned, and not restricted by other funding sources. So that is one common area that we see. I'm not specifically sure the funding policy or the fund balance policy that you have set. I would have to go back to our files for that more specifically for what the village has approved.
If you don't mind, Jen, I'll take that. So, thanks. We've discussed this in the past. As Jen mentioned, the best practice typically 3 to 6 months. That figure that you mentioned, that 34 million, that's just about 6 months of operations. It is including some other governmental funds, not just the general fund. Stated policy for the general fund is 25%. It is dated. It is pre-COVID. It is pre-recession. It is perhaps a time that we revisit that, but as we've discussed, that's best handled during the budgeting process. We're just at that 6-month mark of operating expenditures.
Trustee Schechter, did you have another question, or was that it?
Yeah, that's basically it for the numbers. I also, just as a point of interest, I found it interesting on pages 192 to 193. I actually had to tape the pages. Some of the outputs, these indicators, and I found it just interesting to see where we, some of the areas where we're doing more or where we're doing less, like some where we're not tracking anymore at all, like requests for services or meals, delivered. I was just wondering, like, what happened, some of the areas where in 2025, maybe that's for Mr. Lockerbie, where we're not tracking anymore at all.
So the example that you stated, the meals being provided, the village no longer provides that service. It became duplicative, and so we allowed the nonprofit agencies to serve the clients or the residents that we were serving with that service, and so we no longer do it. And so one of the examples of how we're constantly trying to serve the community with our financial resources, but not be redundant or to meet our residents where they need us to be. Was there any other one that stuck out to you that you wanted me to address?
Yeah, the other one that I noticed was inspections, where in 2016 we did 7,900. Then it went down in 2024, surged back up last year. Seems like a little bit uneven.
Yeah, let me do a thorough review to see why. COVID was in the middle of that, and so that definitely impacted it, but let me do a thorough review so we can answer it precisely.
Any other questions for the auditor? Trustee Iverson?
Yeah, Julian, or Mr. Prendy.
Yes.
Director Prendy. Trustee Schechter had asked about fund balances, and I think you had said that our general fund, thank you, is around 6 months. And the policy, thank you, thank you, trustee. The policy is 25%, which would be 3 months, right?
That's correct.
So we're conservative and maybe a bit on the high side, correct?
We are, yes. And I should note that at the time, and I'm going back to pre-recession, 25% was sufficient to cover us for 5 to 6 months. That is no longer the case.
Oh, very good, thank you. If I could, one other thing. For you, Martinson. There's and I can't remember the exact term, but there was a restatement
Yes.
on a balance that moved $6 million or so, if I recall. And could you just explain what happened there?
Correct. The restatement this year with the $6 million that you're specifically discussing is related to the TIF note debt that was corrected in the current year.
Yeah, again, could you maybe give us a little bit more about what that is?
So, trustee, just to clarify, the TIF note and TIF notes, there's 2 TIF notes in the downtown TIF that were paid out both in '24 and 2025. They were previously reported just as expenditures in that governmental fund, which is the TIF fund. They were not reported as overall debt in the governmental-wide statements, which is what we corrected this year, and then we went back to correct the prior year so that we had apples-to-apples comparison on the debt. So the cash flow for the TIF notes was both the revenue, they were not reported in the past because the way we saw them, and this is also an issue related to budget, they get paid out only if increment is collected. So increment was not budgeted, the expense was not budgeted, net zero. Increment came, expense came, net just about zero. But in the past, we did not report that as debt, and we should have. It was an oversight on our part. We corrected it this year, both for the 25 and 24, so that you could have an accurate picture of the total debt.
Thank you, Director.
Other questions for either Ms. Martinson or Finance Director Julian Prendy? Okay, there being none, thank you. Appreciate the report.
Yes, have a great evening.
The next item on the agenda is the report of our village manager, John Lockerbie.
Thank you, Mayor Tennis and trustees, and good evening, everyone. Item A is regarding the repeal and replace the previously adopted ordinance 25-8-C-4753. The village was notified last Thursday, December the 11th, by the state of Illinois that the village's ordinance needs modifications prior to January 1st. The ordinance, which is concerning municipal grocery retailers occupation tax and municipal grocery service occupation tax, reflects the required changes. A motion is needed in order to suspend the rules and waive the second reading as required due to the pending deadline. And in addition, a second action is requested. I respectfully request approval of the revised ordinance.
Thank you. So, John, okay, first let me ask is there a motion to suspend the rules and waive the second reading requirement for the ordinance that would repeal Village Ordinance 25-8-C-4753 that authorized a municipal grocers, retailers tax, and grocery service occupation tax, and to adopt the revised municipal grocery, retailers tax, and grocery service occupation tax ordinance? Someone, thank you, trustee Pierce-Lovan. Is there a second? Trustee Robinson. Thank you. Will the clerk, any questions? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Pierce-Lovan?
Yes.
Trustee Schechter? Aye. Trustee Kimani Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Robinson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lissalevy?
Aye. The motion passes. Now we need a motion to approve and adopt the ordinance repealing Village Ordinance 25-8-C-4753, authorizing a municipal grocery retailers tax and grocery service occupation tax, and to adopt the revised municipal grocery retailers tax and grocery service occupation tax ordinance. Is there a motion? Trustee Robinson, thank you, and a second from Trustee Lissalevy. Any questions or comments? I would just like to, before we call the roll, I would like to thank staff. My understanding is they received notice of this like noon on Thursday or something. Yeah, there was a real lag in communication, so I know some staff stayed late, worked late, and got it done, so thank you. Okay, being no other questions or comments, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Pierce-Lovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter? Aye. Trustee Kimani Levy? Aye. Trustee Robinson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lissalevy?
Aye. Thank you, and the motion passes.
That completes my report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Lockerbie. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the report of our Corporation Counsel by Barbara Mangle.
Good evening, everyone. Items A and B have already been adopted with tonight's consent agenda. Item C is on the agenda for first reading. The second reading will be on January 5th, 2026. Hard to believe I'm saying 2026 agenda. This ordinance will accept the dedication of a portion of the property at 8201 Skokie Boulevard for the purpose of widening the adjacent public alley right-of-way. The Village of Skokie is the current property owner, and this dedication concerns a portion of property approximately 2 feet by 209 feet along the east side of the property, and this is in order to increase the public alleyways right-of-way width from 16 to 18 feet. Again, this is up for first reading tonight, and it will be back on the next agenda in January for adoption.
Is there any discussion, any questions by the board?
Nope.
Trustee Schechter.
Just a question, why do we need the extra 2 feet? It's just a question.
So this is going to be part of the development, and Johanna Knighton is here. There's going to be a development at 8201, and this is going to increase the public alleyway for better access. Johanna, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Good evening, Johanna Knighton, Community Development Director. That's correct. When we have opportunities, we ask for additional space in alleys to facilitate all the things we do in alleys, pick up garbage, pick up recycling. Fire trucks like it to have a better space to operate. So this is a village-owned property. We're selling it for new development. It's a pretty easy ask to give ourselves that space for the public alley.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay.
Nope, that completes my report.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is new business, and it will be discussing the appointment of the Corporation Counsel. So I was pleased to forward to the board, and we've been having discussions, ongoing discussions. I'm pleased to forward the board recommendation to appoint Elrod Friedman, Steve Elrod, in specific from Elrod Friedman LLP, to serve as the Corporation Counsel effective January 1st of 2026. There was an extensive process that led to this selection. I would like to thank our village manager, John Lockerbie, for leading that process. There was a committee that conducted the first and second rounds of interviews. The committee consisted of Mr. Lockerbie, who led the committee, but Nick Wyatt, our assistant village manager, Johanna Knighton, our community development director, Michael Charlie, who's our director of health and human services, and our HR director, Deborah Stinson, all served on the committee. as did the Honorable retired Illinois Appellate Court Judge Matthias Delort, and 4 attorneys who live in Skokie who were selected by an application and interview process, and I'd like to thank them, Ms. Laura Balson, Mr. Brian Clark, Ms. Deborah Klein, and Ms. Michelle Neuendorf. So there were 37 applications received from individuals, 7 submittals from firms. The team, the committee, conducted, as I said, the first and second interviews. They forwarded 2 individuals to me for consideration, as well as one firm only, Elrod Friedman. And I believe that Elrod Friedman, and especially Steve Elrod and his team, some of members who are here this evening and I'll be introducing in a moment, will provide the best legal service to the village. I think it's important to note the implications of this appointment on the Corporation Counsel's Office's budget. So we are right now in fiscal year 2026 that began May 1st of 2025 and ends on April 30th of 2026. For that fiscal year, which we call FY26, the Corporation Counsel's Office will end the year under budget. Looking ahead at the coming fiscal year 2027, which will begin on May 1st, 2026, and conclude on April 30th, 2027, the Corporation Counsel's Office budget will remain flat to the original amount that was budgeted for fiscal year 2026. So I think that's very important to note. Under budget this year, flat next year. There is, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, as always, there is a footnote to that. If there are unexpected legal items that come up, at any time, our legal fees are subject to increase. But that would happen regardless of the Corporation Counsel appointment. So what I would ask for, and I'll ask for a motion in second, and then we'll have our discussion, but is there a motion from the board to consent to appoint Stephen Elrod's firm to serve as Corporation Counsel and to retain the services of Elrod Friedman LLP effective January 1st, 2026? Moved by Trustee Schechter, second by Trustee Lissa Levy. Thank you. One thing I didn't mention, and I want to be clear about, is that this will, with this appointment, assuming approval, this will we will have what's called a hybrid system. Oak Park also has this system, and they actually use Elrod Friedman, where we will use a combination of our in-house attorneys and Steve Elrod, who will be acting as our Corporation Counsel. I'd also like to take this minute, just a moment, to thank Barbara Mangler. Barbara has done an exemplary job filling in as Corporation Counsel since early this summer. She has done an excellent job during this time of transition, and I am grateful to her. We all should be grateful. Any other comments from the board? Comments or questions? Trustee Schechter.
I also thank you, Ms. Mangler. And I feel the whole process went really, really well. I'm pleased that we also engaged residents as part of the interview team, and I'm really pleased with the appointment of Elrod Friedman. I just wanted to state for the record that during an interview I did express, I did ask the question that, because Steve Elrod is the Corporation Counsel as well for Lincolnwood, Highland Park, Northbrook, Glencoe, we heard Oak Park.
Highland Park, Deerfield, Des Plaines.
And, so I asked about any, obviously, conflicts of interest that could potentially arise. And, well, first they expressed that there were, they'd done a whole conflicts check, but if anything did come up, they would alert us. But I just wanted to sort of flag that was a concern that I have, but I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Any other comments? Trustee Robinson?
Yeah, thanks again, Ms. Mangler, for your service and your work. I just had one thing that I had a couple of questions. First of all, respect the process. I thought everything went well. I think it's a very reputable team that we're getting. But I do want to just talk about real quickly, I'm looking at the resolution letter. And this is about the hourly rate, because I just wanted to make sure that it was in alignment. It says, whereas the engagement letter currently contemplates that billing for legal services will be on an hourly basis. However, the village and Elrod Friedman LLP contemplate and have been discussing moving to an arrangement whereby a majority of the legal services will be covered under a monthly retainer consistent with the arrangement used by many other suburban local governments that utilize the outside legal counsel legal services. In the engagement letter, in the third paragraph, it's very clear. It's currently contemplated that all work will be performed on an hourly basis. So it just looks like that's a difference in what the payment agreement is. It also, has the list of what the hourly rates are.
Sure.
So I didn't know if that.
Sure, so so for right now, what our goal is to have Mr. Elrod in the seat by January 1st. As we've discussed, by early February, probably sooner, may even be in the beginning of January, the first meeting in January, we will come back to the board with a retainer agreement. So we didn't want to wait. We wanted to have him in the seat January 1st and then take some time to work out the retainer agreement. So for right now, he is on an hourly basis. And then we will, once the retainer agreement is in place and approved, we will then move to that retainer arrangement. And that's how it will be going forward.
All right, so we have a couple of dozen. I just want to get clarity.
Sure.
A couple of dozen attorneys on retainer, plus in-house counsel. And we're gonna.
Do we have a couple dozen attorneys on retainer?
I'm looking
20?
at the list. I'm looking at the list here of
So-
partners and associates.
No. So those aren't, go ahead, John, do you want to jump in?
Those are members of the firm that, depending on what legal advice we're seeking or what task, the best suited individual at the Elrod Friedman firm would be assigned the task. Some are paid a different rate than others.
Sure.
And so it's an effective way to access the specific expertise that we're looking for in that moment of time for that piece of legal.
Totally get it. I know everybody
opinion.
has their specific niche. But I just wanted to note that the hourly rates are all here, and we'll also collaborate with our in-house counsel. And I wanted, just for some clarity of how that piece initially will be, managing both with a hybrid system.
So our attorneys who are in-house will remain in-house, and Elrod Friedman will come on board with the retainer agreement. It will be spelled out what they will handle on a day-to-day routine basis. I don't know how else to answer it.
Right. For example, one of the regular responsibilities is for the Corporation Counsel to be part of the board meetings. And so Steve Elrod will be at the board meetings as the Corporation Counsel. If for some reason he's unable to be, then another member of the team will be that person. But ultimately, the Corporation Counsel is responsible for all legal matters of the village. And so the Corporation Counsel is the one that the board holds accountable for the legal services. And then in order to achieve all that is required, unfortunately, a cost of doing business these days is to have expert legal advice, and it's a cost of doing business. And so in collaboration between the mayor, the Corporation Counsel, and myself, as well as the in-house legal team, those decisions will be made and then be able to move forward. The day-to-day operations and the legal opinions just depend. In the ordinance that was before you this evening regarding the tax and the language, and so that notification came into the village clerk's office at noon on Thursday. The finance director and the corporation counsel talked. I was involved, and then we contacted the Elrod firm because they're currently on a special project kind of arrangement with us. And so we contacted them and said, and they immediately said, well, we have an attorney within our firm that is the expert that has done this for all of our clients. And so she's in the audience this evening. And so she joined the call with Steve and said, I have a contact at the Department of Revenue. I can seek clarification. She knew that his hours of operation and when he was leaving the office, but they had already prepared a similar ordinance, not exactly, but a similar ordinance for all of their other municipal clients, which is in excess of 12. And so they were very efficiently able to produce an ordinance for us to review and for Barbara to ensure that it fits the Village of Skokie requirements and our expectations. And then we were able to get it out to the public and the board, in advance of tonight's meeting. But that's an example of how that issue did not surface until noon on Thursday, and by 5:15, the product was finished and out to the public and to the village board. And so it's a fluid process, but the retainer is a way for us to identify jointly the regular responsibilities within every month and just to make that routine, and so that we expect it from a budgeting perspective, and we have a very precise understanding of who is responsible for what. And so the expectations are clear. And so we have started working through that process, but it will be helpful to have a little bit of time when Steve is on board for us to fine tune that.
Got it.
There will also be weekly, we've already discussed it, and I think it's already underway, there will be weekly meetings between our in-house attorneys and Mr. Elrod. So.
Awesome. Again, I see the value in the team, looking forward to working with the team. I just wanted to raise those.
No, thank you.
Questions.
Yep, thank you. Any other? Yes, Trustee Pierce-Slovan.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you. And again, my questions are not because I don't believe that we're making the best choice for Skokie. However, I do want to make sure that we just voted for a tax levy, and people are concerned that that money was, going towards the new corporate counsel to Elrod Friedman. We've heard that as trustees, I believe. I can't speak for everybody at this table, but I could speak for myself. And we did pass a balanced budget already, so I would like to know how this affects the budget, and unless you're going to say, of course, that this is still the same budget line item and we don't expect an increase in our corporate counsel budget line.
Right, so a couple of things. When we passed the tax levy ordinance the last meeting, we were clear that that was being done to increase staff. And it was going to be up to a total of 6 positions across the organization that have nothing to do with the corporation counsel's office. And I'll repeat again what I said earlier. For the current fiscal year, which ends on April 30th, the corporation counsel's office budget will end the year. The corporation counsel's office will end the year under budget. For the upcoming fiscal year, the line item for the corporation counsel's office will remain unchanged. It will remain flat.
Thank you for reiterating it. I wanted to put everybody's mind at ease so that they understand that we did look at from a fiscally responsible budget as well.
And the other thing is, with the expertise that Elrod Friedman, not only, Mr. Elrod himself, but that his team will bring, as John just said, we will be able to have expert opinions, and we will be, I believe, less often looking to hire outside counsel, because there is so much that they, their expertise, they have a deep bench. And I do have to give a footnote, as I gave when I originally made the comments, that if there is unexpected litigation, there was always the possibility that our legal fees were going to go up. But that's been since, the village was incorporated, right? That's always a possibility, unfortunately. Any other comments or questions? Trustee Iverson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just really a quick comment. That you mentioned 37 individuals were interested in this position and 7 firms. And I think it's pretty wonderful that so many people were interested in serving that role. And I'd like to, well, I feel very grateful to the 37 people. I know you do. And I would encourage, I'm sure you've reached out to those 37, but I think they deserve our gratitude for reaching out.
Thank you, Trustee Iverson. Any comments from the community about this matter?
I just wanted to rise and support Trustee Robinson's questions about budget. And but there's a second question I'd like to ask each trustee to ask on my behalf, which is, how does this change the ethics of the village? Is there a new mandate of what success is? Will there be different outcomes? Will these people actually apply Illinois law instead of letting people do whatever they want, is what has happened for the past 20 years? I request answers to these questions, please. Thank you.
Okay, there being no other comments, will the clerk please call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we had a motion. We had a motion from, it was Trustee Schechter, and then it was seconded by Trustee Lissa-Levy. Thank you.
Trustee Pierce-Logan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter? Aye. Trustee Kimani Levy? Aye. Trustee Robinson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lissa-Levy?
Aye. Thank you. The motion passes. I would like to now introduce part of the Elrod Friedman team. We have Stuart Weiss. If Steve can't be here, Stuart will be. We have Marcus Martinez, and we have Kelsey Neal Nolat. Am I saying that correctly? Nolat, yes. Mr. Weiss?
I just wanted to thank you, Mayor Tennis, thank the board. Steve couldn't be here tonight. He had a prior commitment before we knew we were going to be on the agenda tonight. And just thank you for putting your trust, your confidence with our firm. This is municipal law, is our passion. It's what we dedicate our days to. We have 17 attorneys who do just this, and we are very, very excited to be working with the village, working with your in-house team, and thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a presentation of the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, or CAPER, for the Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2024, is that correct? By Justin Malone, Neighborhood and Housing Coordinator, and our Community Development Block Grant Administrator. Mr. Malone.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Justin Malone, Community Development Department. As the mayor mentioned, I'm here to present the Consolidated Annual Plan Evaluation Report, or CAPER as they shortened it to, for the village's Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG as we also call it. This is for the 2024 program year, which finished at the end of September. And tonight we're hoping to get the board's approval so we can submit this to HUD before the end of the year. As you may be aware, CDBG is funded and facilitated through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and is intended to assist residents who are within the low to moderate income category in the community. The CAPER is an end-of-the-year report that we submit to HUD reflecting on how our CDBG funding was used. It shows our goals, accomplishments, spending, progress, and is available for public comment. As a quick reminder, last year we modified our program year dates to an October to September annual cycle. Our previous program years have always ended in May, but this last year we had an extended year, so we could start new with the 2025 program year on October 1st this year. So moving forward, our regular program year dates will be October 1st to September 30th annually. HUD mandates that the announcement of the draft CAPER report is advertised in the newspaper and is put up for public review and comment on the village's website for a minimum of 15 days. And as of December 26th, we will have adhered to these requirements. For 2024, Skokie's entitlement amount was $548,892. This is the amount that HUD gave us for the year. In our 2024 action plan, we utilized an additional $116,000 from prior year funds, and so that gave us $665,560 to spend for the year. This slide shows a very brief breakdown of how we spent the funding. As you can see, we provided over $80,000 in public service funding. We spent close to $200,000 improving streets and sidewalks within the village with this funding. And the bulk of our spending came from public facility improvements, where we were able to provide over $325,000 in funding assistance to help local organizations improve their facilities. As a quick summary, all 12 of our public facility improvement projects have been completed. Sometimes we have a couple that are lingering over, but this year we got everybody completed. We had 8 homes complete the home improvement program, with an additional 7 in various stages of the application process, and we receive more applications all the time. We were able to resurface over half a mile of streets in low to moderate income neighborhoods and help 13 residents repair the sidewalks in front of their homes in the spring. And between the 3 organizations we provided public service funding for, and along with the village's social worker, we helped almost 3,000 Skokie residents. And so I thought I would show a couple slides of some completed projects. I usually ask for pictures. Sometimes they turn out better than some turn out better than others. This is a community, a congregate living home in Skokie. They asked for funding to help with the new pathway, a front stoop, and a back patio, so the residents can hang out outside. This is a group home for adults who can almost live independently, but they need just a little bit of help. So they have Search Inc. is the company that manages them. This was some funding that we helped this family health care center repave and restripe their parking lot. Also, we helped them with their sidewalk around their buildings because that was falling apart a little bit. And Shore Community Services, which is right up the street, I believe was the old police department on Laramie. They had this very old boiler system in the building, and they got a shiny new one this year too. And then a lot of folks decided to help with kind of ADA accessibility doors. This is an exterior and an interior door at Metropolitan Family Services, which is a mental health care facility. And so these are electronic assistant doors there. And then for the home improvement program, again, more photos come back that aren't usually as attention grabbing as some of the others, but windows are a big request in Skokie, especially with the cold weather. So here are some updated windows, and then this is a walk-in shower that was requested by the homeowner there. And so just finishing up, staff is requesting board approval at the end of the year report tonight, and so we can submit it to HUD before the end of the month and meet the deadline. And then one other thing will be coming up on the 2026 program year and application period in spring, so we'll probably have the application solicitation in March or April. So here for any questions.
Questions? Trustee Schechter.
I'm sorry, this is sort of my sweet spot in terms of expertise. I just had a number of questions. One is how it is, and I know you had a slide that said that there's another 7 units in the hopper, but how is it that we only were able to do 8 out of 15 homes?
So we utilize Northwest Housing Partnership for our home improvement program for the application process, document submission. They help with contractors so that it's not on the burden's not on the resident, anything like that. I did reach out to them and say, 7 is great. Can you tell me a little bit of feedback on things? She did tell me that a large bottleneck from time to time in a lot of communities is just residents getting the paperwork in a time that is efficient. Sometimes they submit maybe one document that's asked for at a time, and then it's another month before the next one comes in. They also said sometimes they ask for repairs that aren't qualified through the program, and then also getting appointments if they want to see them in person, because they are in Schaumburg. So
I also wanted to know, thank you for that, for making that inquiry. And I want to say that I appreciate that a few months ago, we lowered the, what do you call it, the lien period
yeah.
from 15 years to 10 years. I think it should be lowered to 5 years, which would make it equivalent to IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, and other entities. And just another thing maybe for the village to consider is rather than making this like a loan program, even if it's forgivable, just considering, having the repairs just done. Some small interior repairs, which my organization, which is a nonprofit, which only covers the city of Chicago, so there's no conflict, but just their CDBG program is just, you do the work and the repairs are done. But it's just a way to get more repairs, more people served.
I see the village manager taking notes, so
Good.
he'll be the one to
Yeah.
work with staff
Good.
on
And then
any
I just-
changes. Yeah.
Great. And I just had one other question, which may also go to Mr. Lockerbie, is that I did note that we had a COVID-19 balance of almost $267,000, and just wondered how we're going to be using that or what our plan is.
So we had a grant program in place. There's a number of answers to that, and Justin should respond. But we did have a grant program in place in order to assist housing within an area, so really make an impact within a block or, an immediate geographic area. And despite numerous attempts to get people interested, going door to door, mailings after effort, we weren't able to get people, surprisingly, we weren't able to get residents interested in that program. And so that was a real surprise to us. But that's just one component of how we were trying to serve the community, and there just wasn't, there weren't people that wanted to participate.
One thing we might consider, I was thinking about this and just wonder what other trustees think. I don't know if you're familiar with something called participatory budgeting, but where there's like a certain increment of funds and the public has an opportunity to weigh in, within certain parameters of what they want to do with this money. And, wasn't sure if that would be a particular pool of funds, but it's something to experiment with.
Yeah, I don't know if, with CDBG, there's so many regulations, it would be interesting to have an effective way for participatory budgeting, but as we're approaching the upcoming fiscal year, let us give that some thought to see if there's a way to include the concept or at least components of it. But I would remind the community that we always have budget hearings in the month of April, and so look forward to the budget hearings.
Yeah, and this year we'll have more budget hearings. We had a couple of kind of long last year, so we're going to divide them up. So, any other questions for Mr. Malone? Any comments from the community? Looks like Ms. Grodnicki.
As Trustee Robinson has pointed out to me in the past, houses that have snow that's still on their roofs have better attic insulation than their neighbors without snow. This week is perfect to flag addresses that need more insulation. Is there anything that we can do with CBDG to help these homeowners? If they're burning gas for heat, better attic insulation would improve air quality and reduce the village's greenhouse gas emissions. And as Mr. Malone mentioned, windows, attic insulation and sealing meaning like seal the gaps where the air's coming in, gives more energy savings per dollar than windows. So just keep
Thank
that in
you.
mind.
I rise to support the previous public commenters' comments. There are many buildings in Skokie that don't have proper standards being enforced, or look at them, or I have to come to 6 board meetings to get it done. 9329 Long finally got their garage holes fixed in the past month before the snow hit, but there's thousands of other buildings that lack this. One of those buildings is 9401 Long. I'll repeat that for Mr. Lockerbie, 9401 Long. I've put calls in about the gutters, which are rotting, and about to fall off the building and the garage. And, the question is, while this program is obviously well intended, is there a way to get more money from the federal government so we can make a larger impact to more homes, including those with non-functioning garage doors that have problems with the things that are there? I would also nominate, in accordance with the previous speaker, 9338 Laurel, who I noticed had extremely long icicles and their snow melted off the roof 5 days before anybody else's. I didn't assess the whole village. I just find these things. I don't go. I want the trustees to know that I don't go looking for these things. I just see them every day, and it shows decades of neglect of the process to do these things, and it's unfortunate. I think a program like this is there. I wonder if we could send a letter to Congressman Schakowsky and our senators and ask them to see if there's ways to increase these grants, because I think, you know, there's a lot of people that are under financial stress, and there's a lot of buildings that do need that improvement. So I rise in support of this, but I'm saying, is there a way we can do more? Is there a way we can aggregate that data, build a full database of all the houses that need that help, that assistance, so we could quantify this, so that in future years we could work to make that actually happen? I think that's something we all want if we're residents, and that's there. So, you know, we'll start with 9401 Long needs new gutters, which I reported 6 weeks ago, and have not gotten a public response from Mr. Oakley or anybody else for that matter. So, you know, that's that. So I hope we can give people these gifts instead of coal, and I thank you for your time.
Okay. So what I'd ask for is a motion to approve the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, or CAPER, for the Community Development Block Grant Program year 2024. Is there a motion? Moved by Trustee Robinson, thank you. Second by Trustee Kimani Levy. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Pierce-Lovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kimani Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Robinson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lisa-Levy?
I abstain. I'm sorry, I mean, I recuse myself from this vote.
Thank you. The motion carries. The last item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone who has not yet addressed the board who would like to do so? Oh, I'm sorry.
At what point may I go?
After this, we'll do our
Thank you.
closing. Our
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, board members. I've been here a couple times before, but I never got a chance to say, welcome to Skokie, Mayor. More than likely, I attacked issues because I feel they're important. Now, today I'm bringing up an issue, and I've seen some of your reports on what you were going to do with some of the things. But what I'd like to do is ask the mayor, is it possible that we could purchase the bank on the corner right here next to the village hall? For the simple reason, using that as part of the village of Skokie, we could use it for parking of the vehicles, the Skokie vehicles, and we could probably use it for a lot of other things, that space, meaning that we would take the bank out and use literally the land. And where we get the money, we would have to increase taxes, naturally. And if you said in the Skokie Review, we haven't received any increase in taxes since '91, well, everybody's raising taxes all over the place. And if we need to get anything to improve, it's just my personal opinion that would be a good idea. We've been sharing the library parking lot, and it turns into a drag strip because people drive through there that are going to the next street. And it's pretty dangerous out there. I go to the library 3 times or better a week, okay, and during the day. And I can see the way it is. And unfortunately, when I worked for the district high school, driving one of their trucks, I parked in front of the village, And as I was backing up with the sound beep, 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 a car that was a parent, with the child inside the car, squeezed by me as I'm backing up, and I actually touched the car. What I'm saying is, it is pretty dangerous out there in the parking lot. So is it down the line, could we look at maybe possibly buying that bank and turning that into village property? We could sure use it. And then this out here, this traffic that we have, that can probably be resolved a little bit more by having our vehicles all over here. It's just a suggestion. And I know that we have always a problem with increasing taxes. But you know what? We need to improve. We are going to have to shell out a little bit more. And no matter where we live, if it's in Chicago, they're paying double on their taxes right now. They're complaining about it. And in the country, they raise the taxes. So it's a thing that it must need to be raised. So maybe we need to think about that a little bit. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir, I'm sorry, could I ask you to come back to the microphone for just a quick second? Would you kindly give your name?
I'm sorry.
Deputy Clerk.
My name is Mike Irwin. I live at 8316 North Central Park in Skokie for 45 years. It's a great community. The district's a great community. It's just that we have to shell out a little bit more to take care of our community.
Thank
we
you,
have to
Mr.
get off
Irwin.
the greenbacks.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and the board members. I want to first second what Ms. Grodnicki said about Public Works. I always wondering how many of those public sidewalk snow shoveler things there are, because I just can't believe how fast they come. And I have to walk my dogs, and it's just so great how professional and how fast they are. I wanted to address also Barb Mangler. I've known you and worked with you when I was an elected official for over 8 years. I congratulate you. You couldn't have picked a better corporation counsel, to a fellow animal lover, fellow lawyer. And to John, I sat there when you answered that CDBG question, and I think to myself, how in the heck in over a decade that I've known you, I've never seen you miss a beat and not be more knowledgeable and helpful. I really appreciate the professionalism of the board. And finally, to the organizations here, I have a grassroots group that's over about 900 people. If you want to give me your flyer so I can post it in this time where prices are so high and people are in so much need, it would be my honor. And I see the food pantries here. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge the presence of one of our valued partners, Supervisor Bonnie Khan Agnesanti from Niles Township. Thank you for joining us this evening, Supervisor Agnesanti. Before we adjourn, I would like to, actually, Trustee Pure-Slovan has something she would like to say.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, we lit the second Hanukkah candle, and it begins the season of celebration for many religions. Across Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas, light functions as a shared symbol of hope, renewal, and moral responsibility, even though each tradition expresses it through distinct histories and rituals. Together, these holidays form a seasonal conversation and perseverance in darkness and the human capacity to sustain meaning through collective remembrance. Hanukkah commemorates the rededication of the Second Temple and the enduring flame of the menorah. The act of lighting the Hanukkah menorah each night represents spiritual resilience and the refusal to let the Jewish people be extinguished. In Christianity, light is central to the celebration of the birth of Jesus, often described as the light of the world. Candles, star imagery, and illuminated trees express the arrival of divine love into human history. Kwanzaa, a cultural celebration rooted in Africa and African American traditions, centers on the Kinara, which holds 7 candles representing the 7 principles. Each candle reinforces ethical values tied to community, strength, and self-determination. While Hanukkah recalls religious perseverance, Christmas celebrates divine incarnation, and Kwanzaa affirms cultural resilience, all 3 holidays use light to illuminate our common principles: unity and responsibility, to our fellow man. Together, these celebrations suggest that light is not merely physical illumination, but a call to remember history, to nurture community, and to act with hope even in the darkest seasons. Let's honor these holidays by sharing the light that brings us together this holiday season. Happy Hanukkah, Chag Sameach, as we say, Hanukkah Sameach, Merry Christmas, and Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pierce-Slovan. I'd like to add that tonight is also, I understand, the beginning of a celebration by members in our community from the Filipino community. It's called Simbang Gabi, and it is a 9-day, not, if anyone's got a big list before Christmas, this might make you nervous, but it's 9 days. It's a 9-day march until we get to the holiday. So hope those celebrating have a lovely celebration. I'd like to take a moment just to thank all of you, my colleagues on the board, for working together so collaboratively and positively this year. We are stronger and better together. I'd like to thank our staff, village manager, Corporation Counsel Mangler for one last, I'm going to miss you, Babs, sitting up here. Known Barb for many years as well. But to all the staff in the village, Public Works has been mentioned several times tonight, but we have our public safety, we have our community development, Health and Human Services, Finance. I know I'm forgetting, who am I forgetting, John? Engineering, didn't mention them, our human, fire, well, I said public safety, fire and police, Health and Human Services, our Human Services Director. So much to be thankful for with our staff. And I'd also like to thank our community partners, again, acknowledging Niles Township Supervisor Bonnie Khan-Agnesanti, the library, the Park District, the schools, our nonprofits, as was represented here by the Early Childhood Alliance, and so many community groups that care and show up time and again for their neighbors. And thanks to all the members of our community as well for living their values and caring for their neighbors. So with that said, I would wish everyone happy holidays and all of the best in the new year, and I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Trustee Lissa Levy, is there a second? The trustees Levy have it. Kamani Levy, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Pierce-Slovan?
Aye.
Trustee Schechter?
Aye.
Trustee Kamani Levy?
Aye.
Trustee Robinson?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Lissa Levy?
Aye.